Hello everyone, this is Johannes and you are watching Board Gaming Ramblings, and today we are taking a look at Spring Meadow, the third game in the Uwe Rosenberg puzzle tile laying game. The first one was Cottage Garden, then we had Indian Summer, and now it's time to play Spring Meadow. I am a huge Uwe Rosenberg fan, so I really wanted to play this. The series so far has been kind of an up and down. We didn't really like Cottage Garden, but we did actually enjoy Indian Summer quite a bit, and you can check out my review 1 year ago for that. Now Spring Meadow is here, the third, and I think the final one, if it's going to be a trilogy, it's the final one because trilogies have 3 games, or 3 books, or 3 movies, or whatever. So take a quick look about how you play the game, and then we're going to come back up and see what I think about Spring Meadow. So, let's do a quick overview on how you play Spring Meadow. In this game you are a traveler, and you want to travel up this mountain, and you want to do that by laying these nice grassy spring tiles over all the snow so that you can be able to walk out without having to go in all the snow. So basically what you want to do is that you want to fill up this board from the bottom on up to get the most points during scoring round. The first player who wins 2 scoring rounds is the winner of the game. So basically when it's your turn, you're going to see where this signpost is, and you can take one of the tiles that are in this row. So for example, I can take this tile and throw it over here and pick it up again. You don't really have to do the throwing over there, but you can if you want to. And I can fill it out on the board. Basically, you can fill it out on the board almost anywhere you want. I could if I wanted to put it up here. It probably wouldn't be a reason for it, maybe later in the game. But for now, not really a reason to put it up there, because you want to fill out the rows down here. You can put it wherever you want. You can't fill out any of these ones, with one exception, which I will explain later. Some of these pieces have holes in them, and if you take a piece with a hole, you can put that hole wherever you want, but you can also put it over one of these animal hideouts. And if you do that, that will score you a point during the game. During the scoring rounds. And also, if you later have a piece that it fits really great, but it ends up filling over one of these animal hideouts without having a hole there, if you already have a hideout filled out, you can take one of the animals and fill it out like this. You will not get any points for that hole, but you have used it to fill up another hole with a piece. And that is basically what you want to do. If you manage to put more of these holes together, like let's say the next piece I get is this one, I now have 2 holes together, I will then get a rock tile that is 1 less than the hole, so it's 2 holes, I get a 1 by 1 rock tile, and I will put it out wherever I want, so that's a way to get more. So if I later, my next turn, I take, for example, this tile and put it over here, that gives me a hole, a whole group of holes that is 3, I will then get a 2 rock and so forth. If you get a 3 rock, you can choose one of these, but other than that, it's just 1 per size. If you get more than 5, let's say you get 6, 7, you get the 4 rock every time. You can always choose to take a a smaller piece, but you can never break them up. So let's say I should take a 4, I could never take 2 2s, for example. And you're going to continue doing this, trying to fill out rows. And then when it's my turn, let's say the board looks like this. This would be a really horrible scoring round, but just for example, let's say we come here, boom, there's only 1 piece left. So if there's 1 piece left or 0 pieces left, then the game pauses and you go in for a scoring round. What happens then is that, let's say it was my turn, I will get some cheese and some water and an apple, and that will score me 2 bonus points, basically because I couldn't take a turn before the scoring happened. And what you want to do now is that you are going to, let's see if I can just fill out 1 row here, just for example. You are going to count how many points you have. And you score every filled out row, and you score the first row that isn't filled out. So every row is 10 pieces, so that 10 points, pretty simple to map out. And then you're going to say, okay, I have 10 in that first row, and the second row is not finished, so I will score for that. That's then 9 pieces, there's only 1 hole, so that's 9 pieces, that's 19 points. 2 more points for this, and then you're going to score a point for every of the animal hideouts that you have filled out. So for example, say I did this as well, I will get 10 points, then 9 points for this, 2 more points for the holes, and 2 points for this. The person who has the most points is going to flip this over to get a hiking pin, and you're going to fill up the board again, and you're going to continue with the player who trigger the scoring, and you're going to continue going around and score every time you go to a scoring round, and the first player who gets 2 of these is the winner of Spring Meadow. So, that is a quick breakdown of how you play Spring Meadow, and as always, let's start out with the components, just get that out of the way. These components are really good. It's thick cardboard, works fine. Like, this artwork is kind of bland and boring, but it works really well for how the game plays, and I think it would be harder to play the game if this wasn't as like kind of boring, like a snowy background with some holes in it. That's basically all it is, and some grass at the bottom, and that's basically the artwork for this. I think it works fine because it makes the game really well playable. You have a bunch, just a bunch of these tiles. It's like 170 pieces in the box, and these are just thick cardboard, works really well. What I want to highlight is this board, because this board is actually really beautiful. I love this kind of map feeling, that I made this map on the board. Of course, there's going to be tiles all over it, but you can still see the map underneath. And I really, really like this. I think it looks beautiful. I think it just really fits the game of you. It's actually trying to fit the theme of you actually being on a journey, even though the game doesn't feel like that at all, which is usually is with games like this. But this is just really, really beautiful. It looks good on the table. So that's the highlight of the components for me, is this beautiful map. But all in all, just great components all through. So gameplay wise, this game is really simple. This game is kind of feels like a hybrid of Cottage Garden and Spring Meadow. In Cottage Garden, you also have this kind of board where you have to choose tiles down here from different places on the board depending on where the marker is. And in Indian Summer, you have the holes that you can fill and try to get stuff on top of them, and try to do it again to get the animals on there to get even more bonuses. In Cotton Garden and Spring Meadow, no, not Spring Meadow, in Cotton Garden and in Cottage Garden and Indian Summer, basically the goal is to fill out these whole boards. Here in Spring Meadow, the goal is to fill rows upward, which makes it really, really interesting that you're trying to get points and trying to do that in a timely manner. One thing that is really, really interesting is that you can basically, sometimes you can choose if you want to trigger the scoring or not, because I have the possibility now to take a tile from here. If I do that, next time it comes up here, it's going to be only one tile in that row, and that's going to trigger the scoring. So is that good for me or is it not? Well, how many times do I get to pick a tile before that? Do I have a chance to win, or is it wrong for me to do that? And that is a really interesting nuance on how you want to pick the tiles and try to do it in a way that makes it best for you, of course. This game feels really streamlined. It's really just a puzzle game at its core, and the rules and the mechanics are really, really simple to understand. Whereas in Indian Summer, you want to get these power-ups by covering the holes, and that can kind of lead you astray from actually trying to fill out your board. Here it's basically, if you get holes together, you will get rocks, which are just more tiles that you can fill up your board with. So everything you do helps you filling out the board all the way. So it's kind of a pure puzzle game. You want to puzzle the pieces that you can get the best way possible to fill up most rows from the bottom and up to get the most points and get the win. So this is like a really pure puzzle, easy puzzle game to play, and I really like it. I really, really like this puzzle game because it's straightforward. It's a really relaxing game. You just sit down, you don't have to use much brain power. You can just do a puzzle game, and I love puzzle games. So if you don't like puzzle games, I don't think you will like this at all, because there's not really much here. There's not really much other than puzzling these things and sometimes, and also really trying to get the most of these stone tiles, so you can, the rock tiles, I think they're called the rock tiles, you try to fill up even more, because the more of them you get, the more extra spaces you will fill up, which is good for you if you want to get the most points and win, which is good in games. I like this little thing about you have to cover up the holes over the animal entrances. I don't remember the name of the animals. It's an animal we don't have here. And then you can, if you want to cover it up with not a hole, you have to cover up one of the ones you already did use a hole over, and that will lose you some points and maybe also lose you the possibility to get bigger rock tiles. So there's a couple of nuances trying to do those kind of things. But all in all, this game is really, really simple, straightforward puzzle game. But I really, really like it. This game has worked really well at all player counts. I only played 2 and 4, so I haven't played 3, but I guess that's gonna work as well. The thing that really is great here is that this game is one of the few games that says the playing time is longer than the playing time actually is. It says 15 minutes per player. The first time we played it, I played 4 players, nobody had played it before, and we played it in 40 minutes. So that's 10 minutes per player, and felt like a really great time for this game to last. I think an hour would feel like it's kind of starting to drag, so I think 40 minutes is really perfect for this game at full player count. So you can play this in 30 minutes with 3 and 20 minutes with 2. And yeah, it's just like a game where you bam, 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 get it out of the park, like not much to think about, but interesting enough choices. You can do a bit of look ahead to see what kind of pieces you might get in the future, and that is interesting enough to make it interesting to play. So replayability wise, this game is gonna feel kind of the same every time. It's of course gonna have different pieces on the board, but as it's not that many complicated mechanisms here, it's basically just trying to fill up the board as much as possible. You're gonna try doing the same thing every time you play it. So I don't think this is gonna be a game that you can play like 10 times in a row and feel like it's different each time. But I think for me this is gonna be a great game to just grab out. It's really easy to teach, it takes not a long time to play, and you can play it with anybody because it's really simple. You can use this as a gateway game if you want to show people like a puzzle game, if they like puzzles, or if you want to get them into puzzles like this. It's really, really simple, it's quick to play, it's just fun. It's kind of tense because you want, you're trying, can I push it more, can I fill up that row to get even more points, and that's all in all makes it a great little game which I really like. I think it's my favorite of the 3. I think Cottage Garden was a bit too simple for me, didn't really get anything out of it. It had an interesting scoring mechanism, but other than that, it wasn't so interesting for me. Indian Summer was good, kind of a little bit fiddly with the different power-ups and stuff like that. It worked really well, and that is the most complicated of the games. So if you want more complicated, that is great. But as its core, like a pure puzzle game, I think Spring Meadow is the best one for me, and the one I would recommend if you want to buy only one of them for a puzzle game that goes quick and is fun to play. And that's the end of my review. I highly recommend Spring Meadow. If you think anything I just said sounds fun, you might like this game a lot. And that is the end of my review. Thank you so much for watching. You have been watching Board Gaming Ramblings. I'm Johannes, and bye bye.